The battle rages on for the top recruit in the state of Florida, and we're only 9 days away from DJ Pickett making his decision.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, if there is such a thing. I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, writer for allhurricanes.com. Thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. On today's episode, a new batch of analytical rankings says it's a two-horse race in the ACC, and Miami's not one of those horses. Is that right? Hold your horses out there. We're going to get a bold prediction on the upcoming season from our guest. We're going to talk about some important players that Miami is trying to land in this class of 2025. None of those, of course, more important than DJ Pickett, who's going to be announcing top defensive back, top player in the state of Florida, Miami legacy. He's going to be announcing on July 17th. And this is so exciting, guys. We had to bring on the truth teller a day early because we missed last week with Bruce. We're bringing on Bruce Warner for a truth teller Monday today. And Bruce, I know you're going through some tough times, my friend. You lost your mother last week. We've been praying for you, Bruce, and today is the anniversary of the loss of your son today. So
thank you.
First of all, thank you for being here. It means a lot.
Yeah, Saturday was the anniversary, the 12 years that he passed away, and today at this almost very minute was the day we buried him. So it's very tough. I talked to my ex-wife, and it just doesn't go away. It just never leaves you. And of course, burying my mother on Tuesday. So this week has not been that great, but I'm doing the show because I love doing the show with you. And I appreciate all the well wishes from the listeners and the fans and the comments about my mom the last 2 weeks. But yeah, she was 90, almost 91. So she would have been 91 this Wednesday. But anyway, what do you want to ask me about DJ Pickett? My gut when I saw this 17th is that he's going to Oregon, and I don't think it's going to change. And I don't think if he commits to Oregon, he's coming back here. I've told you before. Booker Pickett, his cousin, we had him on our show. He said he never liked the Canes, so he came down here. He understood everything. He was all excited about it, but in the back of his mind, LSU, Oregon. And I think it's going to be Oregon because why would he change the date so quickly and so much further back than the October date they gave us originally? It's because he's not going to wait for Miami to see what they're going to do, is my opinion. He's going to go to Oregon. Do I think we could flip him? No, unless Oregon stinks, which they won't be. They're preseason number 4. They're loaded. Landing's doing an incredible job recruiting. So up until last week when I saw this stuff with the date being changed, I thought we were right there. I don't think so anymore. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
I listen, right now I'm leaning Oregon as well. I'm not quite as pessimistic as you are about it because I've seen this, Bruce, especially in the era of NIL. Now it's worth noting Oregon obviously is very strong in NIL. They got that right. Phil Knight money, and I know Barstool for what it's worth, they reported recently that Phil Knight, who's 86 years old, is like he's like I want as much money as I need to pump into this to win a championship before my time is up.
Right.
So that is out there. But at the same time, I know like 9 days in most things in life, 9 days is not a very long time, right? In recruiting, a lot can change in 9 days, Bruce. I mean, it's July 8th right now. July 17th is the decision. This is a situation where Miami has put in, as Oregon has as well, I'm sure, put in just a ton of effort into this recruitment. This has been number one priority player for Miami for a long time. They feel like they've done a really good job with the official visit and all the unofficial visits. There's obviously going to be ongoing NIL factors and negotiations that are going to happen over the next 9 days. That's just the nature of it. So by no means do I think this is over. Now, I do agree with you right now. He's probably, just based on the feedback that we get from numerous different people, he's probably an Oregon lean right now, but it's not as strong to the point where it's worth noting, Bruce, that these recruiting experts who love to throw out their crystal balls and their predictions, there's not a single crystal ball for DJ Pickett to land anywhere. So, if you go by his 24/7 sports profile, yes, there are a lot of people who think he may be an Oregon lean. There are some people who think he could be a Miami lean right now. There are no crystal ball predictions for DJ Pickett for Miami.
I get it, Alex, but I just don't like the handwriting on the wall. And I don't understand why he would say what he said about waiting to see how they do. And now he's not going to wait. If he picks Miami, what happened that he changed his mind?
Well, okay, I think no matter what direction he goes in, and it very well might be Oregon, but no matter what direction he goes in, I think a decision has been made where he wants to get locked in early so that he can focus on his upcoming high school season and focus on the school of his choice. This was something that his father told Kane Sport. Now, this doesn't necessarily bode well for Miami on this front, Bruce, because like you mentioned, if he does commit to Oregon on July 17th, the chances to flip him are very slim, because one of the things that his father told Kane Sport On3 was that their plan is wherever he commits, they're going to shut down the recruitment after that, because they want to focus on that school. They're not going to be
exactly. Yeah. That's my point exactly.
But then what if it's Miami though? If it's Miami, that's good. If it's Oregon, that's obviously very bad.
I understand that, but what would change his mind that from October the 5th to July 17th so quickly? Why would he change his mind?
Okay, well, if Miami has presented their case so well as to what they're building, and he's got the family ties to Miami, he might have decided, I'm okay taking this leap of faith, and I don't need to see their first 4 games, right? So that could be, you can't completely dismiss that. That could be the case where he says, I don't want to drag this into October because I want to be able to focus on my final season at Zephyr Hills. I want to be able to focus on the school I choose. I don't need to drag this on an extra month and a half after my high school football season starts.
Keep trying to convince yourself he's coming to Miami. That's all I'm telling you.
Thing is,
I just don't see, and I told you before,
I don't even know.
He's not a Hurricane fan. He never was.
But Bruce,
I don't think he cares about his family either. He wants what he wants.
But he's not made his final decision yet. If he had made his final decision, it would have leaked and somebody would have a crystal ball. So we could say Oregon might be the lean right now, but we can't say Oregon's the move. I don't think he's made up his mind yet. I think that's still in play for the next 9 days.
I think he's made up his mind. I think he knows where he wants to go. And I think Oregon blew him away. And as I've said all along, and I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, he never was a Hurricane fan. This is not as important to him as the people who want to look at his brother, his cousin, his other cousin, Booker Pickett's other son, an offensive lineman who's probably coming here.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares. I really don't think he cares. And I think the whole thing about Miami getting him in here was he got comfortable here. He liked the direction of the program. He felt comfortable around the coaches, but it never was his you always see people say this is his dream school. Never was. And so I'm just looking at the tea leaves and say, how does he not go to Oregon if he just visited them and he moves his date? And their recruiting class is incredible. Maybe he just doesn't want to get shut out of that one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Oregon said, listen, either commit now or we're done with you. I don't think they would do that, but I think they would say that. Might not mean it. Anyway, let's see what happens on the 7th. I hope you're right.
I'm not giving up. Listen, and again, and I'm not saying you're wrong, right? Because like if he commits to Oregon on the 17th, I don't want anyone coming out and saying, wow, you were so wrong and the truth teller was wrong. Like, I'll give you credit. I'm just saying I don't think anyone knows.
I know, but no one knows until signing day. I get it. I just don't think he really ever wanted to be a Hurricane. That's what I'm telling you.
I think not only has Miami done and this is not to discount anything Oregon has done, but not only has Miami done, I think, everything that they can to present him the plan for him here. It even goes beyond the family. Whether he grew up a Miami fan or not, he still has his cousin and close friend on the team, another cousin potentially joining the team next year. And he's also close with Chris Ewald. And I think there's a relationship with with Stubbs as well, one of Miami's newest verbal commits, Hilton Drake Stubbs, and then they're all recruiting him to Miami. I don't think it's done, man. Can I talk you off this ledge that it's not over till it's over, Bruce? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm not on the list. I hope he does commit to Miami. I just don't figure why he would change the date unless he picked Miami. He went to Oregon. He's picking Miami, and instead of waiting a couple of more months, he's screw it. I'm gonna take a chance. I'm gonna commit to Miami. I could always decommit and go to Oregon or LSU somewhere down the line. So maybe it's the exact opposite of what I'm saying. That's all. But I just have a hard time believing that he changed that date off an Oregon visit where he said he was going to wait to see how we play. Listen, we could talk about this too, as I mentioned it, and you've mentioned it, and people have mentioned it. Even the national pundits that are putting us in the top 25 say the same damn thing. Well, they're loaded. Can Mario coach?
Yeah,
well,
everybody's
got a lot of
that,
talent.
of course.
Is he going to screw this up? And it seems to now be what we've talked about for the last year, putting the onus on the coaching staff, because we do have the talent now, and it's coming to fruition. So I'm looking at this kid and I'm saying, why wouldn't he wait? At least see what happens in Gainesville. If we lose to the Gators, go someplace else. But he's not even waiting, at least to make his early pick for where he's going to go to school.
But I get your logic in that he had said about Miami previously, or somebody in his camp, it might have been his father, who said, he wants to see how Miami or whoever play before he makes a decision. And now he's going to make a decision before the season. Like, I understand that would be an argument that would favor Oregon, but I'm telling you that there are other potential reasons why you could move up your announcement date. Because a lot of players say this, Bruce, not everybody, obviously, but a lot of players like to announce before the college football season starts and before their high school season starts, because it takes a huge distraction away. And when you're a 5-star and you're the top player in the state of Florida, recruitment is a huge distraction. He might have wanted to take a lot of that distraction off his plate.
Or one last thing, and then we could move on to your other topics. Yeah. He realizes they got Ewald, they got Zaquan already here, they just got Stubbs. There's guys that coming in here. Maybe he figured, hell, I better not play around with Miami. I better commit soon, because I can't take any chances to sit there and wait till October the 5th, and they got more guys coming in, and I'm screwed. Even though I don't believe that would happen, but it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as if we've been doing nothing in their recruiting in the last week or two. Man.
Oh, I mean, we've been landing guys left and right, and
he wants to start. So we got a bunch of kids that could step in and start. He may be saying to himself, Dad, you know what? I better not blow this opportunity. I'm going to Miami. So it's possible.
Well, and to your point, there is another blue chip cornerback, not ranked as high as Pickett, but one of the better cornerbacks in the country, who is very much on Miami's radar, who's going to be making an announcement, we think, very soon. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about a defensive lineman that Miami is after. Folks, we're only getting started. It's a Truth Teller Tuesday, right? It's a Monday. Today's Truth Teller Monday here. I'm bad with my days of the week, as people know.
I can come back tomorrow and make it legit.
We'll keep it going here on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. We're not done yet. You want to keep it locked. And I'm definitely not done with Game Time. This is the only ticket app that I use, because on the Game Time app, I am getting the best prices, especially last-minute deals for sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, musical theater. If there is a ticket for it, they probably have it at Game Time. Guys, you can browse through this Game Time app, and you'll be amazed at how you can save 60% off buying last minute. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. Like, guys, I've been looking at Miami Marlins tickets for under $4. They have preseason Dolphins against the Falcons for $1 right now. I know this seems like a lot of money, but $902 tickets for the Copa America final. You're not going to find better deals than that. So you want to check this out on the Game Time app. They also have a couple of game-changing features there. Panoramic view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly your angle and your view from the field or from the stage, depending on what type of event you're going to. And I love how they have all-in pricing. They're not going to slap those hidden fees at the end. You know exactly what you're going to be paying up front. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you so much for making this Truth Teller Tuesday on a Monday episode of Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. Bruce, last week was so busy with Miami landing the likes of Gavin Nix, Darian Coleman, Hilton Drake Stubbs, my favorite offensive lineman, S.J. Alofatuli, committed to Miami on Friday. I don't know how many fireworks there's going to be this week. We'll have to see. But next week, of course, we have the big DJ Pickett decision coming up on the 17th, whether that goes Oregon's way or Miami's way. Jarquez Carter, defensive lineman, 4-star D lineman, is going to be announcing on the 18th. And I like the position Miami is in for Jarquez Carter. I think he could end up being the next Hurricanes commit.
Little undersized, but he's like Bane. He's tenacious, got that lower body strength. Guys like that played a lot in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, Russell Maryland wasn't that big. It was like 6'2", 6'3", 275, but he was incredible. I think this kid's going to be here. I think that's probably enough for the defensive line. I still want a wide receiver.
Well, I want, there's some other defensive linemen and some edges that I want. Like I really want Jose Epinesa, the 5-star.
Yeah, those guys,
Miami and yeah.
And the other kids from Miami, we need to get them in here too.
Yeah.
So, but I think we got to. Where's the wide receiver? What happened?
Wide receiver is interesting because they really seem to be putting their eggs in the basket of we're only recruiting like the top guys at receiver, and we don't mind if we have to wait till signing day to get one of these guys. And I think how well they did at wide receiver last year, so you got a lot of young receivers in the pipe. I think it takes a little pressure off to get a bunch of guys this year. So and I'm not saying Miami's favored for any of these guys, but they've been very, very hot on the trail of Jamie French, who,
he's legit and he's got the size. I just think we need someone with some size.
And they just landed his high school teammate. With Jamie French, landing Stubbs, who goes to high school with him at Mandarin, that can't hurt.
No,
so they've been all over. Yeah, they've been all over Jamie French. They've been all over this Dallas Wilson, but he's committed to Oregon, and we see
he's not coming. And French, I keep hearing Texas. I mean, they have Arch Manning. I mean, they're a top 5 or 6 team going into the season, so you can't blame these kids. But I don't necessarily want another short guy with a speed. We have Nikar. Right. We already have Shamar Kirk, who you and I saw. We got Ray and Joe. Well, JoJo's not a tiny little guy. I think JoJo's going to be legit. He's going to be legit. Yeah.
Well, listen, and I know another one Miami really likes is Vernell Brown, who's a little bit he's a little on the smaller side, but I think he's so good. And listen, Vernell, he's actually a Florida legacy, and people consider him to be a Florida lean. But I've talked to so many recruiting analysts who are like, there's some hesitation with players committing. We saw what happened with Stubbs, who grew up a Florida fan, and he committed to Miami. So there's always some hesitation because they're concerned about Billy Napier's his job security. So that's
rightfully so. And rightfully so.
But with Vernell Brown, you talk about high school connections. Miami just landed his quarterback, the 2026 quarterback, Darian Coleman. That's his quarterback at Jones High School in Orlando. So that can't hurt Miami's cause. So let's say it's weird because Miami's not necessarily favored to land any of those guys, but they seem to be putting all their eggs in the baskets of the top receivers in the class.
And that's okay. I don't know who else is there. I don't know who else they even want. They might not want any of these guys. Listen, on our receiving core, who's gone after this year? Restrepo
and Jacoby George.
Right. And none of the other kids.
I think Sam Brown will have one. Will he have 1 year left? I don't have his eligibility in front of me, but Isaiah Horton will be back. Isaiah Horton will be back with us. Maybe Brown, but I'm not sure. And then all these younger guys, Ray, JoJo, Nikar, Shamar Kirk is still going to have a year left after that. He's got 2 years of eligibility left.
And Chance Robinson,
who's going to have, probably he may redshirt. I don't know if he will. He may redshirt this year and have 4 years left.
But he's going to redshirt. I don't see him getting on the field at all. He didn't come he's not here. He's here now, but he's not ready. He hasn't done anything.
Here for spring.
Yeah, and he's way behind. Now, all right, what else is on your docket here?
Well, okay. I would like you're sounding a little gloom and doom today, but this is not how you sounded a couple days ago when we were texting. Like you have a bold prediction for Miami's results on the field for the next 6 years.
Well,
Give it to me.
Alex, the recruiting is different than my thoughts on wins and losses.
Okay, well, give me
All
your
right. So
thoughts.
that's my justification. These
Yeah,
guys were guys that we're in for. And with all the success we've had so far, it's like bothers me that we didn't get the wide receiver, at
yeah.
least not yet. So that's why I'm a little pessimistic about that. But I did say to you the other day, if everything goes well this year, I am going to predict Miami wins at least 2, maybe 3 national championships between now and 2030. I
Let's
just think
go.
our team is so low, is going to be and continues to reload. And you got Luke Nickel and you have this other Coleman kid. I think we're loaded in every position. He's filled the roster. We have depth. We don't have a ton of experience all across the board, but we're going to have it because we're young in almost every aspect of our roster. All across the board, we're young. So I'm giving them an opportunity. They're going to get into playoffs this year. I believe that. Don't think they're going to win it, but I think they could win it in the next couple of years, more than once. We had
Love it.
that. We had this opportunity with Butch. He left. We did win the title. We should have beaten Ohio State, and he's still not. Had he still been here, we probably would have won another one or 2 or 3 more.
Because he would have kept recruiting. Because with Larry Coker, there was a drop off in recruiting. Probably wouldn't have had that drop off if Butch had stayed.
Not only the recruiting, but player development. Butch was
Yeah.
incredible with that stuff. So that's why I've always brought this up, and I'm going to try to get Butch on the show. But I think that, had he been here, he would have been Nick Saban before there was Nick Saban, but believe me. But
Wow.
I do think we have a legit shot. Now, there's so many powerhouse teams now,
Yeah.
but this is Miami. And the other thing I was talking about is that if FSU and Clemson go to the Big Ten, I hope Miami stays here and goes in the SEC. I don't want to see us go up north and play. It's too damn cold. I'd rather take my chances with Oklahoma and Texas being here
Right.
and us staying here and being in the South. That's
Yeah.
just my thoughts on that. I don't see us going to the
Yeah.
Big Ten.
Yeah.
Who's going to travel up to Illinois in the middle of the winter to watch us play? Nobody.
Yeah, and they're like, and most of those are outdoor stadiums, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Ohio State, Michigan, even Minnesota. Like the Vikings have an indoor stadium, but that's not where the Golden Gophers play. The Golden Gophers play outside. So yeah,
Penn
it's
State
rough.
is outside. Michigan's
Yeah,
outside. Michigan State is
yeah,
outside. Who wants to go
yeah.
up there and play in that weather? But anyway,
Well,
that's
a
a
couple.
separate
Well,
subject.
there are a couple more things I want to get to, including when we were talking about recruits that Miami is hot on the trail for. There is another blue chip defensive back that Miami gets, and if they get this one and they miss out on DJ Pickett, it would soften the blow for me a little bit because Miami's defensive back recruiting has already been excellent. I think it will continue to be so. And also, I saw something, Bruce, over the last couple days, how these Florida State and Florida fans will reach for any low-hanging fruit they can to try to slander Miami and their players. I told you about the prediction on the Florida Gators message boards, but there's people
But you got to tell
slandering.
everybody they're convinced they're going to kick our ass, not just
Well,
beat us.
yeah, and there's people that are slandering Cam Ward as well for this viral video that came out over the weekend. So you guys want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Guys, we love this Locked On network, and Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. It's called Locked On Sports Today, and it's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. We got the truth teller with us. So, Bruce, again, even obviously, I want Miami to land DJ Pickett for a number of reasons. But
Okay.
even if they don't, having already landed Chris Ewald, Timothy Merritt, Hilton Stubbs, Amari Wallace, and I think Miami's in a pretty good position for recent LSU decommit Jaboree Antoine.
Bingo. That's
He
the guy
hasn't
I was going to say
yeah.
too. Yes.
He hasn't exactly revealed his announcement date, but he teased us on social media the other day and said that the announcement is coming soon. So this is a 4-star high-level defensive back. And, of course, Miami has the Louisiana connections with their 2 coordinators and with Dennis Smith and some others on the staff. So I think Miami's in a pretty good spot for Jaboree Antoine. So, listen, hopefully they get some good news there, and that might come at some point later this month.
Yeah, I agree with that kid. I think he's probably going to come here, and I think that's important for Miami because they have to hedge their bet. They can't worry about whether Pickett's coming or not. If he comes, great.
Right.
They'll figure out what to do with some of these other guys that are on the roster who don't play much. But I think that's a good. I think he's going to be here. This business about the Gators, though, you read something that some of these Gator fans are saying that if the game is in Gainesville, it's a blowout for them. If it was in Miami or at a neutral site, the Gators would win, but it will be close.
Yeah, so on their 24/7 site, there was a big one of their writers wrote this big preview of their week 1 opponent, which is our Miami Hurricanes. And the preview actually, gave Miami's roster a lot of credit and stuff. But then if you read the comments from the old boys there in Gainesville, like you said, one of the first comments was, "Well, guy," and I'm paraphrasing here, and I'll do it in my Gainesville accent if you can indulge me for a second. "Well, guys, if this were in Miami or if it were at a neutral site, it's a close win for the Gator. But we playing them in the swamp, boys. That's a blowout for Florida. They ain't got nothing." So then after that comment, 99% of the comments were, yeah, easy win, blowout for the Gator. There was only one commenter, and God bless his heart, whoever it was, who said, "Easy win in the swamp. Tell that to Arkansas." Arkansas team beat them in the swamp last year. But yeah, the Gator fan, Bruce, not only are the Gator fans confident they're going to win the game since it's in the swamp, it's a blowout. You and I should not even bother watching. It's going to be a Gator blowout, apparently.
Well, I'm going to watch it anyway. And then when it's over, I'm going to laugh and we beat them by 3 touchdowns because they're not going to beat us. There's no way. Well, there is a way, obviously.
Obviously.
I just cannot fathom us losing that game. I can't. The Mario would be crucified if they lost that game. Fortunately for me, win or lose, I'm going on a cruise the next day for a week.
Good for you.
I won't be around to cry on your show on Tuesday unless I call in from the Caribbean, wherever I'm going to be.
Call in from the ship.
I'll call in from the ship if I can get it. But if they win, I'll be wearing all my Miami gear. Even maybe to the formal night, I'll wear Miami underwear and whatever on the dress-up night on the cruise. But we can't lose that game. I'm sorry. We're not. There's no way. The only thing that scares me if we come out slow again and we're struggling to move the ball. And oh my God, please no.
And if you come out slow, their crowd. If you come out slow, it only energizes the crowd because the swamp is a tough place to play. But if you come out fast, you get those people quiet and they start to realize how hot it is at 3:30 in Gainesville on August 31st. Then you can take the crowd out of it a little bit.
Well, not only that, but they're going to jump all over their coach because they're sitting there waiting for him to get fired, maybe even during the season, so they don't have to wait till the offseason to deal with getting a new coaching staff. They may have somebody in mind. They probably have thoughts already about it. I bet you they do. But look, I just don't see how they could beat us unless we beat ourselves, like the Georgia Tech game. Not that North Carolina is not good, but they killed us in the second half. We have to be better prepared all across the board, and I think we are going to be. And I think we have so many weapons. And with this kid as the quarterback, as opposed to Van Dyke, there's nothing that they can do that this kid hasn't seen as the quarterback. And so I'm not that concerned. I'm just not. We have so many weapons, and it's not relying on Van Dyke not making a mistake and playing scared. We're not playing scared. We're going to go right after these guys, I hope.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I have faith Miami's going to win the game. And listen, I'd love it to be a blowout, but I'll take a 1-point win. Like just go in there, just win, get 1-0 on your resume. That's all I care about. And Cam Ward gives me a lot of confidence. And there was this viral video, and the version of it
I never saw it. What is it?
So it's basically Ward. So Ward does a lot of these voluntary workouts with Shedeur Sanders and a bunch of other and it's kind of cool how like the two of them are apparently really tight and they're very competitive. So in this video that I saw, and I feel like there was a lot of context missing, but it was still cool from a Miami side. So we know Ward likes to talk trash. Like you and I know that covering him. He's very competitive, and I love it. So Ward is like talking some trash to Shedeur Sanders, And so, well, like people who don't understand, A, they're really close friends. So that I'm sure they talk bleep to each other all the time. And B, Ward is just competitive. Like he talks trash to guys he loves, teammates, just how he is. And I love it. I love that mentality. So people are like, I guess they maybe think it doesn't make him look good with him talking trash. And then the other part of it is there was something about how people were saying he showed up late to that workout. Okay, a couple things there because his quarterback's coach clarified it. First of all, it's a voluntary workout.
Voluntary,
and the reason why he was late to that voluntary workout was he was coming from a mandatory workout at Miami, was why he was late to that. So he's doing this voluntary workout on his own time, and he gets there late because he's coming from a mandatory workout. So then you've got these Florida State and Florida fans like, oh, it's not he's showing up late to stuff. He's not reliable. He's not a good teammate. These guys are getting scared, Bruce. They are getting scared.
How much do you want to bet he's not late for the game in Gainesville? How much do you want to bet he's not late for the game up in Gainesville?
He'll be there probably 2 days early.
Ridiculousness. Who cares what happens? Just look at they're talking about. They're talking about showing up late. These guys they're going to blow us out. Where's this coming from? Are they looking at the rosters? Yeah, it's fear. They're just trying to convince themselves they're not going to get their asses kicked because they don't want to have to deal with it. And look at their schedule. I don't see that coach lasting the whole season. I'm sorry.
Yeah, their over under is 4.5 wins.
4.5.
They play the hardest schedule in the country. And if he only wins 4 games or even 5 games, he's probably getting fired. And even though it's like their schedule is so tough, if they win 6 games, you could say it's a pretty good season. But is that enough to save his job? Probably not.
It depends who they beat.
Yeah, it's true.
But 6-6 may save his job because no one's expecting him to win that many games. I don't think the Florida people want to make a change if they don't have to.
Right.
So if they show improvement and they beat this team and that team and this team and 6 wins gets them into a bowl game, why would you fire him?
Yeah. Well, we've said a lot today. We were shot out of a cannon here on Bruce. And again, we're praying for you because I know you've been through a lot over the last week, and today's a really tough anniversary for your family. So our hearts and thoughts and prayers are with you, Bruce. And thank you so much again for being here today, Mr. Truth Teller.
I appreciate it. I love the fans, and thank you for all of you who have wished me well and my family and my mom. I do appreciate it. I may say I'm like a jerk sometimes, but I do have a good heart and I care. I care about my family. I like Alex. I mean, doing the show for this amount of time, I really enjoy this. And so I'm happy to be aboard. So it's only Monday. We got a long way to go this week, but
we do. This week and next week. It's gonna feel like a long week. Well, thank you everyone so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We'll talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.